So Donald Trump is running out of allies and running out of friends, and whether or not he has any real friends, that can be up for debate. But basically, Trump is running out of people that will work with him. And let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. Look at this story. Trump's new IRS CEO, the head of Social Security. So basically, they need someone to head the IRS, right? They can't find anyone, so then, well, gee, I guess we'll just have someone do 2 jobs. That's seriously what they're talking about, or did, I guess you should say. And the IRS position is a revolving door. I think this is the 7th person this year, if you can believe that. It's like a new person every month, basically. You have another story here also related. CIA deputy director has replaced agency's top legal official with himself. So I guess another person doing 2 jobs, right? This is a Trump loyalist. It says, it is not clear what is behind the move by Michael Ellis, a Trump loyalist. Legal ethics specialist said it could raise conflict of interest issues. Well, of course. But this is the Trumpy world, right? You fill these positions with as many self-serving, greedy individuals as possible, because that's the type of people that are attracted to be with Trump. And then from the Trump's point of view, his goal is to get everyone else just fighting with each other, right? So the 99.9% of us that have a lot more in common than Trump will admit, right? Because Trump wants to get us all fight each other. While we're busy fighting each other, Trump then will consolidate power, have fewer positions at the top, and then he's able to do whatever illegal actions that he wants to do for the day. The IRS situation is an odd one, because I guess they're saying this position doesn't even really exist. No, seriously, that's what it says. I'll read it. It says, this guy is Frank Bisignano, the Social Security Commissioner, right? He's the head of the Social Security, will serve as the IRS, quote, Chief Executive Officer, a role that does not formally exist at the tax agency. And then I guess that's how you sidestep Congress confirmation. I guess that's their plan. The other guy over here, the Michael Ellis, it just says here, Michael Ellis, the deputy CIA director, has abruptly demoted a career lawyer who has been serving as the agency's acting general counsel since January and installed himself in the role. Right? And this is just a pattern that you see with the Trump people. You push out experienced people, you put yourself in, put your buddies in, and there's just not that many people that want to do said things because Trump keeps trying to push the law. This is a story, and I know there's a lot going on today that won't read headlines, but it's all connected. Appeals court hears case dealing with information sharing between IRS and ICE, right? And this is one of the reasons why many of the IRS people have been stepping down, because ICE keeps requesting tax data, these kind of things. And whenever I see this stuff, it's just like, why aren't we requesting Trump's tax, information, figuring out his financial conflicts of interest? And there's several out there. And this is also in another situation to where a judge who was critical of Trump, because Trump was essentially what it has to do with voting and voter information, that judge's house was set on fire. Now, we don't know the exact cause. I did a video on this, but I'll just say this. Nothing surprises me anymore. And again, this is sort of the world that we're in. Now, I know that, and I'm trying to cover everything with you guys. I know it's hard to keep track of all of it, but I just, always just keep your focus on Trump runs everything like a mafia, basically, right? Gangsters. He's all interested in loyalty to him. He wants to be king. And effectively then you get a bunch of lackeys in. And the people that Trump picks and Trump himself doesn't care about regular people. And the craziest crap of this whole thing is that Trump was able to convince all this, MAGA base that he cares about them, which is frankly ludicrous, right? A guy who builds gold ballrooms like he's going to care or give any thought to regular people is insane. And so then what Trump tries to do is get his base, the MAGA people, to then blame immigrants for all their problems, right? It's the people who clean your houses and the people who fix your roofs and the people who deliver your food. Those are the ones causing all your problems, and it's crazy. But yeah, people go along with it if you wave enough dog whistles, be it, oh, you should believe this racist thing or that racist thing. And that's essentially kind of where we are. He gets basically regular people just fighting each other. The 99.9% of us, the Trump's goal is to get us all to fight each other so they can consolidate power at the top. And so right now in Illinois and Oregon, Trump's trying to send in the National Guard. Local authorities say, don't do it. And we're fighting over that right now, right? So while we're distracted with these things, then Trump can do whatever illegal stuff, be it crypto, money laundering, whatever that he wants to do. So this is what's going on, and I want to keep you updated on all of it just so you understand the full picture here. Illinois sues to block Trump's National Guard deployment. And I think Trump wants to either get Illinois National Guard or send Texas National Guard to Illinois or send Texas National Guard to Oregon. The whole thing's just a mess. And also when you think about this, think of it in this way too. Instead of spending time and resources of fighting over where we're going to send the troops, just think about how better the world would be if we're saying, hey, let's figure out ways to pay nurses more. Let's figure out ways to pay teachers more. Let's figure out ways to have renewable energy, affordable housing, like these kind of things. But instead, no, we're arguing over putting military on the streets. That's the kind of world that Trump wants. Illinois sues the Trump administration to block National Guard deployment joining Oregon. And then even in Chicago, which, I support these things, but I'm just saying I want you guys to have a full picture of what's going on. Mayor Johnson signs executive order declaring city-owned properties ICE-free zones. So right now we're going to fight over where ICE can go, can't go. One thing I've been wondering, and Trump's essentially trying to push the country into civil war, I'm just being frank with you guys, because he wants to use essentially red state troops, send them into the blue states. I wonder if there are going to be any cities out there that'll be like, yo, you're trespassing ICE, and then they're going to have calling the police, and you're going to have, I'll just say, real problems, right? And the ICE people, what I keep seeing, and it's getting worse, a lot of them seem to be completely untrained. Like they instead of de-escalating stuff, they're always looking to escalate things. I mean, you can see it. There's so many videos out there floating, and it's just getting worse. Part of what's also going on, because the ICE people have a quota / bounty system, they're supposed to arrest 3,000 people a day, which is crazy. It's just, and I'll put it in the most simplest terms. Just imagine a world where, the cops have a quota that they have to, arrest people for example, for speeding or whatever, right? And what if there's not enough people speeding that day? Then they start sort of bending the rules a bit, Oh, it was 59.6 in a 60 mile per zone, and we're going to round up, right? That kind of stuff. And it's worse with the ICE situation because these guys are running around masked. We don't know who they are. They're skipping due process. There's no warrants for any of this stuff. And they're just basically, as the best way to describe it is shoot first, ask questions later, and effectively breaking all kinds of laws. And it's just crazy. And then while we're focusing on putting out those fires, there's other things developing. And this is in the Wall Street Journal. Like I like to talk to you guys about the business news every day, but literally Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, Financial Times, all of it is filled with like the chaos that Trump is creating. So for example, it says Trump's immigration push diverts U.S. agents from drug, money, and sex crime cases. So because he was focused on immigration, other things are not being enforced. I've also heard that money laundering cases, they're not really enforcing that again. They're just basically focusing on street crime level kind of stuff. And the other thing that I was thinking about is while Trump's focusing on Portland and Chicago, let's say, for example, Trump was really sincere about, deporting as many people as possible. Why aren't you sending troops to red states where the big farms are, right? Because I'm pretty sure they hire a lot of illegal workers there. I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't be shocked, right? If that is indeed your intent. I think this whole thing is really, really ugly. To be frank, but you can see the patterns going on with Trump where he's purposely trying to divide people, attacking the blue states, blue cities. And then you get people who don't even live in those locations saying, oh yeah, go arrest everyone, right? So you have people say, just for example, in South Dakota cheering on, people getting arrested in Portland, which people in South Dakota have no idea what's going on in Portland, right? That's why it's important to, if you do believe in the U.S. system, right? If say you believe in states' rights or, state authority, then you should listen to local leaders, and the local people in, say, Oregon and Illinois aren't asking for help. But that's the situation that we're in. Also regarding they were saying that, like, say, people who work in the FBI and otherwise have really low morale right now as they're being pulled off cases that they've been working on for a long time. You may have informants that you work with in your networks to keep track of stuff. And then you have this other strange culture in USA to where people worship wealth. And I mean, you could argue this has been going on for years in USA, right? So for example, this is the headline here. Elon Musk becomes first person with net worth of 50 billion. Wow. Or no. Sorry, my mistake. 500 billion. Wow. I mean, even 50 billion, even $1 billion, guys, is a lot of money. I mean, let's be honest. $1 billion is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. $50 billion is a lot of money. But now we're talking like 500 billion. This is like the first person to ever get that much. And he's aiming to be the first trillionaire, even that new Tesla contract thing he's got there. And I think they're voting on it. Basically, Tesla will pay him $1 trillion for Tesla. It's so ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. And then you got this like culture out there on social media that worship rich people. That's essentially what it is, regardless of if they say anything wise or whatever. They just look at the dollar amounts. And then even like say with Trump or Musk, they can inflate their net worth. You have no idea these people's situations, because oftentimes, say in Musk's case, his wealth is built on Tesla stock, which is a massive bubble, and then he borrows against said stock, lives off lines of credit and loans. The whole thing's a massive bubble. It's crazy. And then this is another story, and I just want to show you guys what's going on, because it fits a larger pattern of the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, basically. Here's another person. David Portnoy adds a record-breaking home to his 95 million property portfolio. You can see a picture of his new mansion there. There's a view. Certainly looks nice. I mean, I can see it looks like a nice view. There's Portnoy. And then I guess they were talking about this in the Wall Street Journal today, that Portnoy likes to, have rich people problems and complain about, his champagne problems, essentially what it is. Oh, I got mold in my house. Who can help me? Actually, not a house, mansion. Who can help me fix the mold in my mansion, right? All these rich people problems. Or for example, that's what he says. I don't want to be the guy, but my Miami house is so effing huge. I keep forgetting where I leave my coffee, and it's driving me insane. Why do bad things happen to good people? Mansion problems. That's his thing. And you can go through all the stuff that he's done in his career, etc. But I'll just say this: he's into gambling stuff, and his initial company, I guess, was funded by advertising by sites that had, well, let's say, legal gray area, and say regarding gambling. He promotes a culture of negativity against women, that kind of stuff, and the list goes on. And this also comes at a time because the way Trump is able to maintain power is, again, get people to fight amongst themselves. And the people who support Trump, say the MAGA people, they're under economic stress, which I can totally understand, right? The jobs just aren't there. And then Trump promotes a culture to eliminate yet more jobs. Like this is the big news today in Wall Street. OpenAI, AMD, so chips, right? Graphic cards, announced massive computing deal marking new phase of AI boom. So, and Trump's all about, this, because as long as he gets money in his pockets, push that crypto, push that AI. And it's all about basically replacing you, the worker. And I just, all the stuff that the Trumpy does, again, it's just to consolidate power for him and his billionaire buddies. And like I told you before, he's running out of people, so he has people now doing multiple jobs. We just saw a film, actually, my wife and I, we just saw it 2 days ago. It's called No Other Choice. It'll probably come to the USA soon. It's a Korean movie. One of the best movies this year. And the theme is pretty similar to Squid Game. Just basically, if there's not that many economic choices out there for you, you lose your job, etc. You start looking at, okay, how can I eliminate the competition? That's basically what these stories are about, right? And then the Trump in the billionaire class, Elon Musk, this goal about laughing at everyone while we all fight with each other. And so when I look at this stuff every day, you can just see it happening. And it's frustrating to me because, and this is why I try to talk the way that I do, where I don't like look at MAGA as being necessarily my enemy or like that. I just look at people as just being fooled by bad leadership, right? And just think of it this way. It's like you have a friend who's dating a really bad person, and you're just like, you got to get your friend away from said person because it's just a bad influence on them. And why can't your friends see it? And they're sort of enamored by this insane person who makes a bunch of promises or whatever, and this never comes through. And so I try to stick to the facts when we talk about this stuff. So for example, Donald Trump says U.S. truck imports to face 25% tariff. I mean, this is all his tariffs are gonna hurt so many people, and just keeps adding more on. If you want to talk in the most simplest terms, I guess now shrimp is really expensive in USA. Trump's tariffs push up prices for America's favorite seafood. Great. So I guess shrimp is more expensive now. And then you look to Trump's buddies, and again, they want to build more AI to replace more workers. And again, it'll put more stress on people. And then as long as Trump can convince people to fight amongst themselves, right, and not essentially identify the real problems to where you have people at the top like Trump, Musk, etc., that don't want to create a system that is helpful to you. They want to create a system that divides you. We'll continue to have these issues. I mean, this is what Musk is up to right now. Musk gambles billions in Memphis to catch up on AI. And even following this story in Memphis, basically, he wants to take people's power local there and dirty the air environment, etc. And it's all about, his data centers and AI stuff. And if you buy off the government, you can, cut through any sort of regulations because Musk hates regulations. And the big winner is not going to be regular people. Of course not. It's going to be Musk and his buddies. So that's what's going on. I just wanted to share this stuff out there. I do appreciate your time, everyone, every day. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.